And we are off to a start. I figured things out. Good morning, everybody. How are my current and future subscribers? I hope all is well. And as soon as the Dongs of Doom have finished, I shall be about it. So today's game is Flower, also a ThatGameCompany product. I have played it a bit on iPad. I have not played it on PC at all, so I have no idea what it's like on PC. And I have a suspicion the first thing I'm going to have to do is set up the graphics. Okay, let's have a look and see what my options are. Graphics, enabled. I think I'll leave these as they are. Oh, I have briefly run this up to get this set up, haven't I? Whoa, that's quite loud for me. There we go. Huh. And I'm running at 180 frames a second. I hope this works. And... oh, okay. Not exactly abundant with instructions. The view out of the window is quite depressing. Oh, I have to hold the left mouse button. Oh, the interesting thing is so far the GPU is not being stressed and neither is the CPU. Which is kind of interesting because this, I believe, uses the same engine as Journey, and that's when ThatGameCompany developed Sky, they used a modified version of the same game engine. I can only assume it's changed a bit over time. Going to do a bit of an experiment today, actually. Oh, now the GPU has kicked up to almost full utilization. That's alright. Good morning, Thivia. I'm glad you were able to find the stream. I hope it wasn't too problematic. I'm sometimes a bit confused by OBS. How is the noise levels? Absolutely no clues there on what I'm supposed to do. Now, I assume... okay, it is WASD. Do I click to advance? What was I saying? Yeah, I'm going to try an experiment depending on how far I get through this. I have a feeling people aren't watching the archived live streams, so what I might do is split this up into sections and post them separately later just to see what happens. Oh, that's still loud. I haven't changed the game sound for you. Yes, collect the petals. I do remember that much. I don't remember how precise you have to be. I did find on iPad it was actually quite soothing. I don't remember this effect though. then. Have you played this, Thivia? So I suppose the basic idea here, obviously from the opening scenes, what is this? The reclamation of nature by nature, shall we say? Because we certainly look like we're in a fairly... The area immediately outside our little oasis here looks fairly brown and unpleasant. I keep forgetting I did figure out how to speed up. Okay, that's not necessarily intuitive. The interesting thing is, I am not currently seeing any particular similarity to Journey, and therefore to Sky, which is nice. Oh, the camera's a bit... dodgy? Is that the word? I wonder if that's a feature of the game engine, and I can't remember what the name of the game engine is. Or is it simply that I'm not used to this? I suppose this qualifies as ASMR. I could probably just play this for several hours and just leave it up as ASMR. What does ASMR stand for anyway? I don't know. Asynchronous sound, music, relaxation? I'm sure A does not stand for asynchronous. Well, there's no particular sense of hurry, which is nice. And the CPU seems quite happy with me. I'm glad for that. I would have thought all these grass effects would have been rather demanding, but this game, I think, was released in 2009. It's not exactly young. I think you can still get it on PS4, and I know you can get it on Steam, and I know you can get it for iOS, and I think if you have one of the M series Apple desktops or MacBooks, I think it will play on that. I believe Sky does. The old laptop you see on my right is an old Intel MacBook Air, so it will not play Sky, unfortunately. Oh, I see. If I press down too hard, I slow myself down. Ah, okay. Whoa, that's a bit too swoopy for my liking. Let's try not to do that too much. Okay, am I assuming it wants me to go over here? I understand the developers, and I can't remember whether it was of this game or Journey, went on to do Abzu, which I also have, which is a sort of a diving ocean-based thing. I got it because it was cheap and it came recommended. I might stream that. I played it a bit. It's interesting, would be one way of looking at it. Oh yeah. Try and avoid the swoopies. Oh, am I supposed to be trying to head up the hill? Oh, I see. That works better. Yeah, definitely got to learn the technique with keyboard and mouse. And what? I think the yellow flowers are the ones you want. Oh. All right. Okay, I can't just turn around. The camera is limited. Oh, discovery. Find and bloom a secret flower. Huh. I wasn't even aware that there were Steam achievements you could get for this. Where were the flowers that led up the hill? Oh, over there. I suppose I'm not particularly inclined to rush this. I have no idea how long the game is, by the way. When I streamed Journey the other day, I did know that it was fairly short. I'm afraid I'm not a botanist, so I don't have any idea if these are supposed to represent actual flowers, or... Oh, that is sweet. I wonder if this is based on a real landscape. It's kind of nice. I'm trying to remember if I've seen any landscapes precisely like this in my life. I mean, the South Downs in England maybe, but the hills are bigger. Yeah. Curious thing, and completely unrelated. The other place that reminded me of the South Downs that I have been, strangely, was Kansas. I was driving across the United States for, I think I was relocating from San Francisco to Georgia, and I went through Kansas. And I'd heard that Kansas was very flat. Now, the people who say that haven't seen a truly flat country. And Kansas actually reminded me somewhat of the South Downs in England. Now, if you want a flat place, go take a look at Holland. That place is flat. Oh, that is nice. I kind of like the fact that there's no particular text on the screen to direct you. I sort of had to guess the controls, but then, you know, controls these days are so standardized, it's a good thing. Oh, I suppose I have to go over there. I'll tell you one thing. This is surprisingly emotional. The cynic in me says, it's hopelessly idealistic, but, a little bit of idealism. Never a bad thing. And the fact is, a lot of beautiful things in our world are more or less gone due to human encroachment. There's a lot been destroyed in England, for example. Chalk streams, beautiful little streams, almost completely gone. I think we used to have orchid meadows. Those are almost completely gone. And unfortunately, this is what happens when a species simply becomes populous and successful. And it's very easy to say that we've lost touch with nature. Got news for you. We never were in touch with nature. That whole in touch with nature thing, is more or less rubbish. The reason that we like to look back and say, oh, such and such a time we were more in touch with nature, is simply that there weren't enough of us to do any serious damage. And even that isn't true. You don't need a lot of humans to permanently damage nature. In fact, too much of any species will damage nature. For those who suffer from headaches playing games like this, I'm not sure whether a larger screen would help or a smaller screen. I would have thought a smaller screen because that's not as immersive. That is strangely satisfying. Oh, wow, that is quite loud in the headphones. That's better. I can hear myself think. And just for the record, I'm not against to efforts to make our world a greener, more nature's conscious place by any means. I just don't see that it's really possible. 8 billion human beings in the world, how are we going to simultaneously look after them and manage nature at the same time? It's just, I won't say it's impossible, but it's going to be very difficult. Here in the West, it's a bit easier to focus on environmentalism, I think. But how are you going to convince a farmer in, I don't know, China, for example, that he needs to be more environmentally friendly when his focus is providing food? That's more important to them, at least. How do you convince them? It'd be very, very difficult. Okay. All right. I may just let's see if this works. Huh. Oh, okay. I'm just doing this to try and turn down the volume a bit. Here's my OBS screen. And I'll turn down that. Alright. Let me know how that sounds. It is something that Western environmentalists seem to kind of forget, that when the first priority is survival, things like environmentalism kind of go out the window. They more or less have to. Alright, do you want me to turn the music down even more? Okay, alright, we'll stick with this. I am, by the way, all for, finding alternate ways to come up with non-polluting methods of generating power. But politically, that is going to be profoundly difficult. And I don't necessarily mean because people like oil companies want to continue making money. That is certainly a factor. But let's suppose we wanted to switch over to solar power, mass quantities of solar power. Okay, so you've got two options. You either have local solar power stations, which may or may not be appropriate for some environments. I think you'd need to improve the efficiency of solar panels, for example. Or you pick some of the emptier spaces in the world and put up massive solar power farms there and then beam the power around the planet, which is conceivable. There's been experiments to demonstrate that it could be done. But where would you find those places? You'd end up looking at the deserts. Places like, the Central Desert in Saudi Arabia, for example. Are they willing to give up their oil revenue, possibly for an investment in solar power? I don't know. Would you want to, given that Saudi Arabia is a highly oppressive regime? The morality, even the current morality of dealing with those regimes is highly questionable. At least I think it is. But, how about wind farms? Well, tell you what. Ignoring the rubbish people talk about wind farms. Oh, they kill the birds, that kind of thing. No, they don't actually. Compared with domestic cats, wind farms really don't kill many birds. Domestic cats kill many orders of magnitude, greater numbers. So if you want to preserve your local wildlife and bird populations, doing something about the domestic cat population would certainly be a thing. Because they killed, I think in the United States, the number of birds killed by the domestic cat population is in the billions. The other problem with wind farms, of course, is that they require large quantities of rare earth elements which have to be mined in large and environmentally potentially damaging mines. Then they have to ship those products around the world for manufacture and then ship to where they're going. That's not exactly green, I can tell you. Of our currently available technologies for greener power, I do tend to favor solar. But it's got its own set of problems. And the simple fact is, fossil fuels are, relatively speaking, cheap and convenient, which is why we use them. I never thought I'd end up talking about environmentalism. I should have predicted it. given the nature of the game. And I haven't even touched on global warming. I think I'll leave that for a different time. I mean, I suppose if we got really complicated, we could, I don't know, stick solar farms in space and beam the power down to Earth. But then you've got massive constructions in space, and we're already polluting space to a quite significant degree. Have a look at... oh, that's quite nice. Well, apart from the fact there's a dead tree in the middle of it. I'm really not paying attention on what I'm doing here. I don't care. It's kind of pleasant. I suppose I can carry on talking about environmentalism. One thing you may have run across this whole thing about, organic food using organic farms. Yeah, there's a reason organic foods cost more. It does actually take more effort to do it, and you may think, well, okay, we just spend more effort. Yeah, I've got news for you. When you have 8 billion people in the world to feed, organic farming isn't gonna cut it. You don't get the same yields from organic farms as you do from factory farming. So what do you expect it to do? And organic farms have their own problems. I'm trying to think. There have been several food poisoning outbreaks that have been traced to organic farms because their organic-based fertilizer contaminated the food with E. coli bacteria. There have been several significant outbreaks associated with that, and that's the reason for that is because the organic fertilizer was improperly composted and the bacteria in them weren't killed off before they were applied to the fields. If somebody comes up with a solution, please let me know. I mean, a good solution. A workable solution, something which can be applied worldwide and still feed our ever-growing population. And please don't start suggesting, well, we need to reduce the population. Okay, how are you going to do that? In a you could, I mean, in terms of reducing population, all right, what could you do? You could encourage lower birth rates. All right, nothing wrong with that. A lot of Western countries do actually have relatively low birth rates. I think Japan has a very low birth rate, but that causes its own set of problems, of course, because now, of course, Japan has a rapidly growing elderly population. Who's going to look after the elderly? You know what? I really have no idea what I just did, but it's kind of nice. Oh, that's nice.